Hello, everybody. It is almost 7 o'clock. I'm just waiting before we officially get started. And let's see, I want to mute that. Oh, I hope everybody is having a lovely Wednesday. Hello, Carl. How are you? Glad to see you. Hey, Dream On, you finally made it. I'm so happy. I love it when you all can make it here. Love it. Absolutely love it. So it is Wednesday, and we are going to be doing our usual. Now, I did want to try something new with you all. I've been doing fill in the blanks with students, and I think it helps. I think it kind of leads to it's just a different way to study besides questions. So I was thinking we would try it. I don't know if it's going to be good for a group setting or not, but we'll go. You're tired of studying, but excited for the exam next week. Completely understand, Carl. Look, I feel the same way about Michigan as well. I'm like, well, I'm studying, but I'm always talking to you all about always studying. So how can I be mad at and be complaining about studying for myself? So, having said that, let me share my screen and let's get into some fill in the blanks. Just in case you wondered, there's a fancy name for this called closed sentences. If I wanted to show off the education, but they're fill in the blanks. Imagine it's like, oh, what do you call those things? Mad Libs. It's kind of like Mad Libs for real estate studying. But here we go. Let me share my screen and do ba boom. Hopefully you can now see my screen. Yay, you can. And we got this going here. We got this going here. And I need to make sure I can see you all on the chat here. So let's do some closed sentences. So a blank contract appears valid, but may be legally rejected by one party, such as in the cases of minors. Now, that would not be true. This word here, this part, the answer is this. That's not in California. That is not true in California. Oh, wait, can you all see my screen? Yes, you can. Just making sure. Hey, Valerie, nice to see you. And I just want to make sure. Testing. Oh, I'm going to put a word and I want to see if you all can read it. If you all will put in the chat what the word next to testing is, I want to make sure it's updating. So let's see. Do you all see the word? Oh, and I see you all telling me what the right answer is. It is, in fact, voidable. But are you seeing the update on your screen? It's saying it's not sharing, but I can't tell. I cannot tell. Dina, can you see my
No,
iPad?
no, I can't see anything you filled in.
All right, let's see. Let's resume. Let's resume. Let's resume. Okay, let's stop share. Let's try this again. Hmm. Okay, boom. Now let's try this. It says pause. There we go.
Yes, I
Yay.
did it.
Now you can see it.
Yep.
Love that so much. Yay. I think the problem here is boom. Okay, now you all can see it. I think there's an update now. And let's see if it's still doing it. And now I need to chat with Dina. So there we go. Yay, you can see it. Woohoo! We're going to get this right one of these days. Okay. And so everybody is correct. This is avoidable. Now remember, that's not true in California. Minors would be void. Hey, Vivian. Nice to see you. All right, number two. A contract signed under duress or fraud is considered. A contract signed under duress or fraud is considered what?
Avoidable.
Yeah, it's voidable too. Now, again, I didn't write these. This came from, what do you call it? Chat GPT. But I think it's really important to talk about, guys. We got the same word here and here. Now, Valerie, I do believe in some states they will teach it as void. And here's what I think of as the difference. Um, it will be voided. So, okay, how do I say this? So we know we've got MCLL, and that M stands for mutual agreement. So if it's been signed under duress or fraud, then you really didn't have MCLL. And it's not that they're basically saying, well, this is a void contract because you never had mutual agreement. But on the outside, it looked void, it looked valid. That's why I like to say it's voidable, right? Hey, Caroline. Mm-hmm. 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 So there you go. Number three, blank is the process of transferring contract rights to another party. Ooh, that is a good one. And yes, Vivian, voidable. You are correct. In North Carolina, it is voidable. So, what is the process of transferring contract rights to another party? I like this one.
Aren't there multiple terms for this?
Well, kind of, sort of. And now Dream On is saying conveyance.
Yeah,
Well,
conveyance,
mm-hmm.
alienation. No?
Yes. Okay, so I could see this. I like this idea of convey. So conveyance is transferring contract rights. So here's the key is why it's not. It says contract rights. So I'm thinking when you're conveying, usually you're conveying title. Usually when you hear conveyance in this class, it's going to be title. But let's say there's Candace with a contract and I want to give my rights
Oh,
to Dina. I know my handwriting's awful, guys. What do we call that? And
so
yes, Vivian with the win. I think you said it, Dina. What did you say?
I can only think of
Mhm.
I've lost it.
That's okay. It's okay. We're going to go with assignment,
Oh, yeah.
right? So conveyance talks about usually you're conveying your title, right? Then we also have the word like alienation, and alienation means like it's moving away from. And you're right, everybody is right. They can kind of all feel the same, but they're used differently. It's just a kind of art to it there, right? So assignment, you would agree with assign. Now, assumable, what is the difference between something being assigned and something being assumed? Can anybody tell me that difference? The difference between something being assigned and something being assumed. Because I feel like we see this a lot.
It's a good one.
I know we got to try assigned versus assumed. Who's got something there? Because this is the kind of thing where you're like, oh, is it assigned? Okay, takeover. Well, you give me, I see you saying takeover there, Dream On. Give me some more. What do you mean by takeover? What does that mean? You take over. Give me more. Assumed is when you take over. Hmm. How would you see? Okay, let me maybe put it this way. How would they test you on the difference? Like if there was a test question, what's the difference between assuming the loan, and assigning a loan?
The liability of it.
It's all about the liability. Yes, it is about liability. Let me go here for a second. Oh, that's the same thing now, isn't it? That's my terrible art. So when you assume, usually when you assume it's gonna be a loan, so that means it started with me. That's terrible. Let's try that again. So when you assume a loan, I started with the loan, and then I'm passing on everything, my rights and my obligations to the new person. And let's make that Dina. That's assuming a loan. So if Dina, you don't pay, I'm done. That's not my problem. But when you think about assigning, I want you to think about other contract. Okay, why is my handwriting awful? Nope, still don't like that. Let's try that. Let's try to make my handwriting a little bit better here. Think of other contracts, other types of contracts. And when I think of assigning, I think of kind of like subletting. So when you sublet a unit to somebody, so if this was a if it was started with me and went to Dina, if she stops paying, then it's still going to reflect back on me. We just assigned my rights. We didn't do it, right? So it's one of those things where assigning, I'm still responsible. I still have liability. Assuming a loan is kind of like novation. Novation, it's a complete transfer, right? All right. So let's see what you all said in the chat. Assign means when you're assigned to something, yes. You believe assumables when you give your loan to someone else, yes. Yes. And a VA loan, they can give it to someone else of their family. Yeah. So when somebody assumes a loan, they're taking over your rights and responsibilities. But when you're talking about assigning rights to a contract, think about people who flip properties where they'll get it under contract, and then once they have it under contract, they say, "Hey, if you pay me $500, there's another name for it. I can't think of it right now. But if you pay me $500, I'll let you though go ahead and buy it." Or like subletting, right? So there you go. All right. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? I'm hoping. Yay. Let's go back to the other screen. That was a good one. So, assignment is transferring just the rights. It may not transfer the obligations. Versus this, when both parties agree to substitute a new contract for an old one. What is that? And I'm even going to put it in a different word, a different color. What do you call it when you replace completely a new contract for another, or you completely replace the parties in a contract? What do we think that is? Novation. Look at y'all. Novation. Like it, right? It's novation. And novation, assuming a loan is a novation. It's like there you go. All right, number 5. A blank lien is placed voluntarily by the borrower like a mortgage. What kind of lien is placed Okay. Well, you know what? I told y'all that ChatGPT wrote this, and I think that ChatGPT is just thinking we're stupid. They said the answer is a voluntary. A voluntary lien is placed voluntarily by the borrower. Duh. Duh. But guys, when we're doing this, this is a great way to remember. It's a great way to talk about, hey, how can we categorize any type of liens? So when we're looking at liens, you have specific versus general, or you could talk about how they're created, or we could talk about if it's financial. Well, they're all kind of financial, aren't they? They're all financial. Or we could organize them by voluntary versus involuntary. So there's lots of ways to kind of group liens. In fact, I could say that about mortgages. I could say that about easements. I like to think about a lot of these things we learn in real estate, like shopping for a car. If I say, hey, I'm going car shopping, well, what kind of car? Or if I'm talking about cars in general, we could talk about stick shift versus automatic. We could talk about colors. We could talk about, is it a sedan versus is it a pickup truck? Is it a SUV? Like there's different ways to categorize these things. And once you get that, it'll help. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. I could have a specific lien that's voluntary, like a mortgage, but then an involuntary lien would be like your real property tax liens. You didn't ask for real property tax lien to be put on your property. We know that's one of our four powers of government. That just happens. So we kind of loosen up our thoughts on that. All right, let's go with number 6. A mechanic's lien is an example of what type of lien? A mechanic's lien is an example of what type of lien? Hmm. Mechanic's lien is what type of lien? Speaking of putting things in categories. Ah, Valerie has it. She said a specific lien. And what does it mean? What's the difference between specific liens or versus general liens? What's the difference between specific or general? You happen to know that one, Dina?
It's attaches to the property, specific to the property versus attached to a person.
Dina, you are a genius.
I wish. I wish.
Hey, all right. Okay, next one. A blank is a right to use someone else's land for a specific purpose. Hmm. And I see you dream on specific. You got that right, Valerie. You got it right as well. Mhm. A blank is a right to use someone else's land for a specific purpose. What could that possibly be? I don't know. I mean, I know the answer to the question. I'm just wondering, and you all will give me feedback on this. Do we like questions or do we like looking at the vocab in a different manner? I don't know. You all.
This is a better test for me. Having to fill
Ah,
a word, I'm like, versus choosing a word, it's harder.
yeah. It is harder. And I see y'all over there. It is easement. It is easement. Very good. Now, somebody in the chat said license. And license isn't necessarily wrong. It could. Don't worry, Elena. Don't worry. If you're late, you're still here. So let's talk about what's the difference between an easement versus a license. I think either answer like could work. I know they're going for easement, but an easement, remember, is going to be an encumbrance, and a license is not an encumbrance. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, if I give Elena an easement to use my land for some particular reason, and then I sell my land to Carl, well, now, Carl, you have to honor that easement. And to protect her interests, Elena would have recorded this thing. Any future people that buy my property would have to honor this easement, right? That would be giving her an easement in gross, a personal easement in gross to Elena. And it's only for as long as she lives and she can't sell it or anything. But it's an encumbrance. It's affecting the title. It's going to transfer with the title. But if I gave her a license, well, with a license, when I sell, the new owner, Carl, would not honor it. That's why licenses are not encumbrances. Licenses would end. They can be terminated, they can be taken away. Once I give Elena an encumbrance or, sorry, an easement to cross my land, if I change my mind, I'm just stuck with her crossing my land, right? So there you go. You all said it correctly. A license is it's not a right, it's a privilege. Yeah, I mean, I can see where depending on how much you have the right to use it, I can see that. If I have a permit, I have the right to drive. I guess depending on how much emphasis you want to put on the word right. That's why I would have used easement. So yeah, I like that. Actually, I like that, y'all. I think the focus on the word right is a better reason as to why we would say easement and not license. I got you. All right, number 8. A blank easement benefits one parcel and burdens another. Ooh. Girl, Valerie, I spell privilege wrong every single time. I gotta ask, one of the smarter AIs how to spell privilege every time. Like, it's like there should be some letters in there that are not there. It's one of those hard words. I don't know. hmm I spell all sorts of things, but privilege is not one of them. A blank easement benefits one parcel and burdens another. No, not prescription, a prescriptive or prescription, easement by prescription or prescriptive.
Pertinent?
Yes, very good. It's appurtenant. You know what I would do is go back through this thing and maybe make my lines bigger here. That's what I would change. So our answer is appurtenant. An appurtenant easement. Don't be fooled by this. This is two different things. An appurtenant easement benefits one parcel but burdens another. So I like to point out, guys, when we talk about this, there's two P's in appurtenant and there are two properties. We have the dominant tenement versus the servient tenement, right? And one parcel, it gets to cross, so the dominant parcel gets to cross the servient parcel. If we're talking about a lien that is, or an easement, that's an easement in gross, there's only a dominant, right? And a prescriptive easement talks about how it became, how it was formed. I think formed is a better word there. How it was formed. Was it from prescription so that you did it for the right amount of years? Was it, out of necessity? All of those things. hmm There you go. And I see y'all with the dominant and servient, and I see you running with the land. It threw you off because it was an A, not an and. Okay. Oh, and okay. And I got you.
Yeah,
It
that
should
threw me
probably
off too at first. I thought, oh, wait.
Yeah, there you go. Nope. You know what? We can't be. ChatGPT is not as smart as it thinks now, is it? Ha ha ha. So, yes, dream on everything. You are not the only one. Yeah. All right. A blank easement exists when two parties have a long-standing mutual agreement that isn't written down. So, this is about how it's formed. How is it formed? There's prescriptive, that's not the answer. When two people are like doing it and you're in agreement. And I don't know. I think I'm going to go with my guesses. They think it's implied. My guess is it's implied because it's implied like, oh, and I don't know if I really like that. Implied, I think what I am saying this is that it says because it's not written down, right? But that still could be expressly, I don't like this one. Implied would be, mm, I really don't like this one. We're gonna just, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say ixnay on 9. I think that gives too much openness. So we're just gonna skip it and pretend like it doesn't exist. What? 9? Who had a number 9? Not me. All right, let's try number 10. The right to access one's landlocked property is known as an easement by what? So if you have landlocked property, they would give you an easement because of why. And dream on eventing, I think you already know because you just said it. Mhm. Hmm. The right to access one's landlocked property, yes, is an easement by necessity. Look at you all. Got it. The legal process of taking private property for public use is called what? Hey, Tricks. The legal process of taking private property for public use is called what?
Condemnation.
Ye- Love it. The legal process is condemnation. Now, if it hadn't said the legal
Mm-hmm.
process and it had said the right, what would the answer have been?
You
The
mean the one,
right. Go ahead.
you mean number 12?
Mhm. Oh, the power of the government is known as what? Okay, so bless ChatGPT's heart. I said to switch it up randomly, but it did not do a very good job. What is this? The power to take property is known as eminent domain. But I will say, I love how this makes us talk about there's the legal
Yeah,
process versus the power.
yeah.
And what are our, just because I like it, what are the other powers of government? All right. Now somebody said, okay, police power. Ah, okay, that's not right. Boop, boop. Police power, eminent domain. What are the other two? What are the other two powers of government? Taxation and zoning is police power, right?
Eminent, eminent domain.
Eminent domain, police power, taxation. There's one more E. Who's got a sheet? That's right. A sheet. A sheet. Nice. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Love it. Now, Valerie, what you answered was number 13. A blank is a revision or an addition to a will. You gave me that answer already. And I think this is a good, like, word you just kind of want to know. Oh, good, Dream on Eventing. You think this is helpful? Yay! I like that. I like that it helps. A blank is a revision. The change of a will is a codicil. Oh, a little rhyme that you came up with to remember. The change of the will is a codicil. Love it. And now we're all going to have that in our heads. Codicil. Love it. You don't think that is one of your vocab words. All right, that's okay. So, Dream on Eventing, no book has every single possible vocab word that you could see. Like, right? And when you do things like this, extra things, then okay, yay, it wasn't in what you studied before. Now you have it. There's there's 100% chance you're going to be tested on types of agency. There's like a 20% chance you might see the word codicil. I mean, you could see it, you could possibly not see it. It might even be used as the wrong answer for another question. So being exposed to it is helpful, right? So that's okay. It's okay, Valerie. You don't have to be too excited. All right. Now, an amendment is when you would change a contract. Codicil is specific, I do believe. Now, this is where I need to be an attorney. I think codicils only are wills, but I don't think you amend wills. I think you say an amendment to a will is a codicil. I think it's the fancy name. So, there you go. Number 14. The term means some blank means someone dies without a will. What does that mean when somebody dies without a will? Hmm. Somebody dies without a will. Do, 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 do. Intestate. Yes. Intestate means without a will, and then we know testate means you died with a will. And I don't know if this is going to have it in it, but I do like to talk about what's the difference between a demise versus um, a device. Anybody tell me what's the difference between a demise versus a device? Hmm. Trick said troublemaker. Devise versus demise. And I'll tell you, for me, I look at these two letters, demise versus device. It's kind of distracting. So I'll do this M versus the V. What is demise versus device? Device is when you receive something. A demise sounds trouble. Doesn't it sound troubling? Demise. But that's it. A demise is when you receive something. They're both you're receiving something, and it's both you get real property. You're getting an interest in real property. So they do both deal with, both relate to real property. You're giving property. But demise, when I see this M, I think what comes next to, if I'm thinking about the alphabet, we know L, M, N, O, P. I think of the L. And that's when you're given property via a lease. It's a demise. It's giving a property through a lease or renting. A device, I think of a W because a V is half of a W. I know. And then that always makes me go, why do we call it W and not double V? But that's a whole ADHD path that we can go down another day. And this is when you get property from a will. When you receive real property via a will, it's a device. There you go. I still remember that from when I took this class 22 some odd years ago, but those are ones that you don't want to get wrong. Like it's a great test question. Again, you have like a 20% chance of seeing it. I'm going to call this a 20% word. I'm going to call a whole thing like 20% words. They're words you should definitely know, but they're not guaranteed to be on the exam. I know you're going to be tested on the difference between specific and general lanes. You might see if somebody says they were tested on demise or device, I'd be like, yeah, sounds about right. If they didn't see it, I think that's about right too. I think it really just depends. You had about a 20% chance of it showing up. You should definitely know it, but you don't want to spend hours on it. Right? So that's my new term. We're going to call them 20% words. Number 16. The legal test for a fixture includes adaptation, agreement, and blank of annexation. Now, I'd be very curious if anybody can tell me what the name of the legal test is. What is the name of this legal test? And then adaptation, agreement, and blank. blank of annexation. Maria, somebody said Maria. That is correct. Maria, I teach it sometimes as Irma. Mhm. Hmm. Method. There you go. Well, dream on. You had it. Dream on said method of something. That's it. The method of attachment. That's the M. The method of attachment. How was it attached? If you stick something on a wall with, piece of scotch tape, right, that clear scotch tape, that was never meant to be a fixture. That was not supposed to be permanent. But if you use a screw, well, then yeah, that was meant to be permanent. If you crazy glued it to the wall, I mean, I don't know why you'd be trying to crazy glue it, but you meant for that to be permanent. So it's the method of attachment or annexation. Annexation is another word for attaching, right? Yep. And then we do have intention. That's one too. I love it. Okay, number 17. An item is generally considered blank if it's not permanently attached to the property. Ooh. An item is generally considered what if it's not permanently attached to the property?
Personal property.
That's right. It's considered personal property if it is not permanently attached to the property. Now, what's another name for personal property? There's another fancy name. There's actually two fancy names for personal property. Okay, somebody said it, chattel, right? And then there's also personality. I don't like that one as much. It sounds like personality. Personality, shine, personality. Okay, sorry, ADHD. So it could be called chattel, it could be called personality. Right? Now, you all say trade fixture. Trade fixture is specific to leased commercial properties. If it's a trade fixture, it is about leased commercial properties. And it's the idea if you're leasing and you put this fixture in, you have the right to go back and take it. I just had a thought, y'all. Oh my goodness. I just had a thought. Okay, there's about 10 or 11 of you all watching right now, I think. I want you to send me an email before tomorrow, before midnight on 8/21. I want to do, you know how I did my 5-hour video with Andrea and I went over all these vocab words? Would anybody be willing to do a longer session? I'll have ChatGPT come up with some more of these and we'll do a long session, but I'll make sure we hit like major words. If you are interested in that, I want you to email me recording and then tell me the keyword. Put this 20% words. That's why I know you're here, and do it by midnight 8/21. It'll be free. It'll be via Zoom. We won't be recorded. We'll be recording, so we won't record your faces, but we'll just record my screen. We'll hear you, and you all can get live free. It might take a couple hours. So email me tomorrow if you're right here, right now, and you don't know my email. It's CandiceEllis@gmail. Email me by tomorrow, the 21st, my mom's birthday, by midnight, before midnight. And anybody, I will pick a time and a date, and we will do like hours of this in a row all together, right? So that will be very helpful to people. Just like people found the other video helpful, I think that will help everybody too. It'll be all in one. Yay. Sorry, that was a little side note, but An item is generally considered trade personal property if it is not permanently attached. And remember, trade fixtures is for commercial properties. Trade fixtures are for commercial properties.
So you can have a fixture though, like a pool cover, and that would be part of it, but more personal, right? So just
Well, a pool
fixture.
cover. So if there was a true pool cover, what I would say if there's, and let me write this down. I would look at how does the pool cover attach. Now it's something that goes back and forth, but more than likely it probably like sits down and maybe latches on or something. I think it would be considered personal property. But a lot of contracts will, I know the contract for North Carolina says any of the equipment that goes, the pool is staying, and so does any of the equipment related to the pool, right?
Got it.
hmm And so, oh, Elena, today's your husband's birthday. Oh, and I'll tell my mom that you all said it. So, it really attached. When I think of a pool cover, I think it depends on the size of the pool. Like if you've got an itty bitty pool, it might just be considered personal property. But if it's something like, you know how fancy rich people have those pool covers that like go underneath the cement and then it slides back out, that's
Yeah.
probably going to be considered real property, like a fixture. It would depend, which is why we learn in this class when you're doing, contracts. When you all are doing contracts, be specific. I love that example, Dina. I would expect that you all, as agents, would say, hey, buyer, you want to, let's just make sure we put pool cover in as a fixture, something that we want on this contract, right? Oh, and Amani, here's my email again. It is Candace Ellis at Gmail. There you go. So, yay. I mean, I guess you all are wanting me to try this soon. Badoo, badoo, badoo. Maybe this, looking at my calendar, y'all, looking at my calendar, y'all. Maybe we can do it this, what's I'm in October on my calendar. Maybe we do it this Friday evening, Friday or Sunday. Let me think about it. Maybe Friday evening or Sunday. When you do the email, let me know what you want. You want Friday at 6 p.m. or Sunday at 6 p.m. You let me
How
know which
long,
one.
how long of a class did you think it might be?
I think it might be we'll at least do like 30 of them, so maybe like an hour or two.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay. All right. So tell me, remember, if you're emailing me, you're going to say 20 words before 8:21, and then you're going to tell me Friday or Sunday. And I'll go with whatever's popular. All right. I'd asked this a second ago. The blank test determines whether an item is real or personal property. Remember a moment ago I said, hey, what's the name for this test? So I think the actual official name for this test would be a 20% word. You're very likely going to be tested on what it says, but you may not be tested on the actual name. And am I planning to do a second part for that latest math video? Tricks, that is part of a series. I probably should go ahead and you're talking about the one for email me tricks, exactly which one you're talking about. Um, and I might have it already. The blank test determines whether an item is real or personal property. This is the total circumstances. Sir, that's not how you spell circumstance. Total circumstances test determines whether an item is real or personal property. It is most definitely a 20% word. Totally a 20% word. You need to know what it says, what it is. It would be great if you could pull it up out of your head, but it's more important that you know what it says than what it's called. Right? I like this new term, 20% word. I think it kind of tells you all. All right. Number 19. What's that for, Valerie? I see that What's that for? But while you Valerie tell me what that is for, and let's go with the highest form of property ownership is known as a what estate? What's that highest form of property ownership called?
The absolute.
There we go. You said fee simple absolute. Fee simple. Oh, you've never heard of that. Well, again, Valerie, 20% word. And yes, our answer to 19 is a fee simple absolute. Remember, when you see fee, I want you to think inheritable. That's inheritable. And then the absolute, I want you to think ownership forever. Right? Ownership forever. Now, Elena, you said tenancy in common. So tenancy in common, right? Tenancy in common is about co-ownership. When we have that chart with the fee simples and whatnot, that is about how long you own it. So remember, an estate means that you can live there. If you have an estate, whether it's freehold, ownership, or non-freehold, renting, it means you can live there. And we want to know how long you own it for. Tenants in common, joint tenancy, tenancy by the entirety, what do they call it? Community property in other states. That's about co-ownership. And we know that ownership by one person is ownership by in severalty. Oh. Oh, okay, never mind. Elena said she was, bye, Carl. See you next time. Don't forget to email me. 20. You said 20 is tenancy in common. 20 is tenancy in common, right? Because there's no right of survivorship. I see y'all. Well, then let's just jump to the four unities of joint tenancy. The four unities of joint tenancy are. Okay, so y'all were just ahead of me. That's all. Y'all were at tenancy in common. Yep. Okay, I got you. But the four unities of joint tenancy, I think y'all already know this one. It's possession, right? And we know in joint tenancy, you get the right of survivorship. Okay. All right, let's do number 22. I'm going to grab a little sip of water, let everybody catch up. All right, number 22. In tenants by the entirety, both spouses must sign to convey, and the property includes the right of what? And tenants by the entirety, both spouses must sign to convey, and the property includes a right of what? There we go, dream on eventing. It's survivorship. Remember, tenancy by the entirety, if your state practices it, and joint tenancy both get the right of survivorship. But you have no right of survivorship with tenancy in common. There you go. Number 23. I want a new color. I'm sick of this blue. Let's go purpley. A lease where the tenant pays fixed rent plus some property costs is called a what? Good night, Caroline. A lease where the tenant pays fixed rent plus some property costs is called a what lease? And there you go. It's gross. It is called a gross lease. All right. And even though it might ask us later, what about, wait a minute. No,
Isn't that net?
that's not, nope, nope, nope. Somebody said gross and I was just excited about it. No, it's not gross. It's net. I was testing y'all. It's a net lease. I was going too fast because the tenant is paying. Net tenant. The gross lease is where the landlord pays. Good job catching me, guys. That's what I want, right? Gross lease is where the landlord pays all of those property costs. The net lease is where the tenant pays. So NET, tenant net. There we go. It was you, Dream On. That's okay. It's okay, Dream On. I was just trusting you for the right answer. You led me down the path of wrongness. It just reminds you guys that nobody's perfect. So we'll go to, yeah, we'll keep on going. A lease based on gross income, like in retail centers, is a what lease? 24. A lease based on gross income, like in retail centers, is a what lease?
Percentage.
There you go. It is a percentage lease. Now, some of you all might have math on this. Like anybody in North Carolina, you could possibly have math on how to do a percentage lease. Everybody else, you want to check what it says, right? Look at me follow you to the cliff. Yes, I will definitely follow somebody right off a cliff if I'm not paying attention. So there we go. All right. Number 25. Title insurance protects against blank defects in title.
It looks good to me without filling in any word.
Right? I was thinking, I was like, what is it? And mm, mm. Title insurance protects against blank defects in title. I guess I'm gonna say it's undiscovered,
Oh, yeah.
undiscovered, or maybe hidden defects in title, because think about it, well, no matter what state you're in, whether you have a title company or an attorney or whoever it is come up with the closing, there's always that title search. And a title insurance company will not give you title insurance if there's something going on. So my guess is that they're looking for like undiscovered or unknown defects, hidden defects, right? Clouded title. Okay, the clouded defects and title. Well, the defects are the clouds, right? So let me see what they said in the answer key. Let me scroll. What number are we on? We are number 25. Hidden, undiscovered. Okay, they had hidden first and then undiscovered. Okay, there we go. I like it. Number 26. The blank clause in a mortgage allows the lender to demand full payment upon default. The blank clause in a mortgage allows the lender to demand full payment upon default. What is this one? Mm. Oh, Dream On, you said you've not heard of hidden. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, when you get title insurance, what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, "Hey, I'm either getting a survey or not getting a survey, but if something happened that I wasn't expecting and I lose ownership, remember the title insurance company will pay you back what you paid for the property. They don't pay you back the appreciation, just what you paid. So it's about things you didn't know about." And I see you all looking here, says the clause in a mortgage for full payment. We have acceleration. Yes, acceleration.
Is it also a due on sales clause?
Well, a due on sale is the same as the alienation clause. The due on
Oh,
sale is the same as the alienation clause because you're alienating it or you're selling the property. The acceleration clause is because you defaulted. So the default is acceleration, right? There you go. All right, I peeked ahead to number 27, and it's the answer that it's trying to give me is wrong. So let me talk about it. I'm sure there's probably a name for this clause, but I'm gonna calls it out right here. The lender can sell the loan to another investor it is because the promissory note is negotiable. That's the word. I had to think about it. Negotiable. And what I mean by that, negotiable means it can be traded like money. So like if you find a poker chip, you could, if I have a poker chip for $50 and I give you the poker chip for $50, then you can trade that in for cash. That's why they can sell it, right? What they came up with an answer for was for 27, the alienation clause, and we know that's not right. ChatGPT was just yuck. Just yuck, right? No, it wouldn't be a secondary mortgage. It wouldn't be a secondary mortgage. So 27 was just wrong. It's if you say why can a lender sell their loan to another investor, it's because it is a promissory note is negotiable. Because remember, there's two parts to that mortgage. And I'm using the word mortgage incorrectly here. You've got the note, and then you've got the collateral document. And that could either be the mortgage or it could be the deed of trust. Oh, I ran out of space. Boop. Deed of trust. There you go. So I don't like 27, but we're doing it. We're doing it anyway. Number 28. The blank clause releases individual parcels from a blanket mortgage. The blank clause. Once again, I'm going to need ChatGPT to not think that you all are stupid. The blank clause releases individual parcels from a blanket mortgage. Now, having said that, you could come up with a test question like this. And if you don't know that's what it's called, then you don't even get the irony of this is what it's saying, which, by the way, the answer is
Release.
release clause. Yes. Hey, if they do this on the test, they do it. Because if you didn't know that's what the name of the clause is, it wouldn't occur to you to be like, let me just take the verb in the sentence and, make it the name. Oh, Amani, let's rewind. You said it, okay, you got it. Someone defaulted due on the sale, or you could just be selling it. Yes. So I'm going to rewind for Amani here just for a moment, and I'm going to put this in a different color. So just so you are very clear, Amani, because this is important, your alienation or due on sale is because you sold or transferred the property versus the acceleration clause. It's because you defaulted. You missed payments. Now, at the end of the day, the same thing is true. Pay us back everything now, but it's all about the why. It's all about the why. Why is everything due? Is everything due because the person sold it, or is it everything due because the person defaulted? Right? There we go. I think this is a great place to end here, guys. Just as a reminder, if you want to join me here, let me make it a little prettier. If you are seeing this, boop, if you email me, Candace Ellis at Gmail, before 8:21 and 11:59 p.m. and use the words 20% word, right? It's a 20% word. Then you can join me either Friday or Sunday. Tell me your preference. And I'll get back to you. I'm thinking Sunday. I won't give it much time. I'm thinking Sunday, but maybe Friday. We'll see what everybody says. So, um, is that it? I think that's it. What do we think of this, guys? Do we like it, Miss Dina? Not all the time, but do we like it to be different?
No, I definitely like it. Definitely, it's a
Yay.
challenge, more challenging.
hmm Valerie said do both days. Maybe Valerie, if I get like a half and half, maybe I'll do some questions with half the people and some questions with the other. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind at all. It's fun. All right. And for everybody else that's listening, I know there's a little bit of delay. Let me know in the chat. Do you like it? Do you not like this? Again, not all the time, but just as a breakup from having to do questions all the time. So Trick says you like it's helpful. All right. It's helpful. I like how we can branch off on things. And Dream of on Inventing said I do it both days. So review some math. Vivian, we'll have to see. Maybe on the second day if I do it. Let me see when I can do some math. But there's a ton of math on my YouTube already. All right. There's a ton of math on my YouTube already. So, guys, I'm going to go. I got some dinner to go cook and eat. I really hope this is helpful. Remember, you can join me and Dina in the Zoom room if you like.
Yep.
You're more than welcome to, but I loved it. I loved having you here, Dina. It was great. I sent
Love
y'all
it.
the email. And of course, email me if you want that link. So, guys, I'm going to go. Bye, everybody. Thank you,
Thank you.
Dina.
Thank you so much.
Bye.